Welcome to the School of Education at UW-Tacoma's 2021 hooding ceremony. I'm Rachel Endo, Dean of the school, and I would like to start this very special event with a land acknowledgement. We here in the School of Education at UW-Tacoma, we acknowledge that we learn, live, and teach on or near the ancestral homeland of the Coast Salish people. The UW-Tacoma campus is specifically situated on the traditional ancestral homelands of the Puyallup tribe of Indians. So let's continue to advocate for our Indigenous neighbors, as well as other communities that have historically been underrepresented and underserved in higher education. And now our program begins. So the first call to order is a hearty congratulations to the class of 2021. And on behalf of the faculty, staff, and our advisory boards, the class of 2021, we are so proud of you, and we are so honored and delighted to be here to celebrate your accomplishments tonight with you and your loved ones. So give yourself a round of applause for all you've accomplished. And I would also like to acknowledge the heaviness of this past academic year. If we just think about 2021 alone, it seems like it's been a heavy year. Sometimes there's been weeks where it just feels like there's been tragedy upon tragedy or crisis upon crisis. I really just appreciate how the School of Education community has come together and has really not avoided these moments of conflict and tragedy, but have really stepped in and making a lot of these moments into teachable moments. So again, thank you all to the class of 2021 for stepping in and for taking leadership and for stepping in and leading courageous conversations with various communities and families and students. Some final words is that in the School of Education, our mission is educate, empower, excel, or for math whiz, E cubed. And I really look forward to staying in touch with all of you for the class of 2021. I know that you're going to go out there and do amazing things and to live out our mission. So I look forward to staying in touch. Again, congratulations to the class of 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Endo. Please welcome Dr. Kathleen Beaudois, the 2021 Masters of Education faculty speaker. Dr. Beaudois earned her PhD in Educational Psychology and Special Education from the University of British Columbia. She joined the School of Education in 2000 and teaches courses in the field of special education, as well as courses centering on proactive practices to support positive behavior. She has over 30 years of experience in special education as a classroom teacher and educational consultant, working primarily to support youth with emotional and behavioral disabilities and providing training for the educators who work with them. Her research interests center on working with educators to improve services for students with challenging behavior. She's honored to be here today as the faculty speaker for the MED graduating class.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Kathy Beaudois, and I'm an associate professor in the School of Education at the University of Washington, Tacoma. I'm honored to be here today as the faculty speaker for the Master of Education class of 2021 and to celebrate you for this amazing accomplishment. Some of you have been with me since your undergraduate classes at UW-Tacoma. Some of you spent every Tuesday in the first summer of your programs with me. Some of you have had me for classes on campus, and while for many I've only worked with you online this past year and never had the opportunity to meet you in person. Regardless of the venue for our interactions, I've always felt that the best part of my job is the opportunity to get to connect with my students. So when I was asked to prepare some words to speak at this celebration, I asked myself this question: what message do I hope that I've taught or brought to light across all of my courses that might resonate across all of the programs represented by the graduates here today? Well, I hope that message is the critical importance and the huge payoff of putting in energy into building relationships with your students. And for those of you who don't have students, with the youth you serve. This has been a different year. And we know that we haven't had the opportunities for the typical connections that we usually make. And we know that there's been fallout because of the loss of connection for both children and adults. And we know that mental health challenges in terms of symptomatology and depression and anxiety are at extremely high levels. And we know we're in it too, all of us. But we know that when kids feel connected to their teachers, the payoff in academic learning is excellent. The students are more likely to see themselves as learners, and they're able to better manage their emotions and behavior, and their mental health is better. So what I hope I've gotten across in my teaching is the importance of building these connections with every student. And yes, as you know from my courses, especially those who we might first perceive as having challenging behavior. Every child deserves to have a teacher who reaches out to build a positive relationship with them. In a typical year, I would be here recognizing that you have all been pulled away from your loved ones, your family and friends for a long time to give your all to fulfilling the degree requirements, especially during these past winter and spring terms. And I recognize that this is still true for this past year. The research and coursework have pulled on you. And even for those of you who were working on your culminating projects while working in the same bedroom or hallway office as your loved ones, you were still pulled away by the requirements for earning this degree. But what I've learned from many of you this year is that it was harder, and so much harder. You were pulled away from your time with loved ones, but focusing on your research was harder. It just took more time and more energy, but you're here, and congratulations, you've made it. My hope is that now, starting today, you'll have just a little more time to reflect and think about what you can do differently in your future now that you've completed your Master's of Education degree. Those of you who are teaching in classrooms or online or working in higher education settings, I want to remind you that when you go forward in your paths, that you have to lead the change. Because if you don't change, the experience won't change for your students, and they need you desperately to make a change. And that change, it begins with connection. Whether you're able to do it in person now or still need to reach out virtually, you need to take the time to build the relationships and to build them with every student, because this is what truly will set the foundation for your future change. Remember, relationships support learning. So going forward, I hope that each one of you also takes the opportunity to reach out to those friends and the loved ones that you haven't seen in a long time, or that maybe you've seen daily in the next room, but you haven't taken or had the time to nurture that relationship. You're done with your studying. Now is the time to go connect. I also hope that you will come to visit our beautiful campus in Tacoma in the fall. Come visit me in West Coast Grocers 305 and consider connecting with all the School of Education faculty and staff that you haven't seen this past year. We will be here for you. And for many of you, we'd like to finally meet you in person. So congratulations to you all in this beautiful class of 2021. I wish you the best.
Thank you, Dr. Beaudois, for your remarks. We're pleased to introduce this year's Master of Education student-nominated student speaker, Jose Tony Garcia. Mr. Garcia is from Mexico and grew up in San Diego, California. He has been in the education field for about 20 years, and majority of those years have been dedicated to the advancement of first-generation, low-income students by serving in TRIO programs ranging from high school to college. He has worked at San Diego State University and the University of California, San Diego, running upward bound programs for high school students, and recently relocated to Washington State to help run 2 student support service programs at Grays Harbor College in Aberdeen. He just got promoted to director of the TRIO programs and heads the Passport to Careers for foster youth at the college as well. He serves as the president-elect for the Washington State TRIO Association and will be president next year, where he helps in the growth of other TRIO professionals. Help me in welcoming Mr. Jose Tony Garcia.
Good afternoon, esteemed faculty, wonderful staff, family, friends, and graduates. My name is Jose Antonio Garcia, but I go by Tony just to make it easy for everyone. In case you still don't recognize me, let me make this a little easier for you. this is usually what you see when you look at the screen when we're in class. So now you know who I am. It's an honor to be speaking with you here today. And first and foremost, I want to say, graduates of the class of 2021, congratulations. I am very honored to be invited to be the graduate speaker for today's ceremony. And by this, I had to sit back and think about it. Now, was I really such that great peer that my cohort said, hey, that Tony guy, he really made all these classes go by so quickly, and he was always so helpful and funny? Or was it really that I just made people so mad on how relaxed and laid back I was during the whole journey that you all got together and said, damn that Tony dude, he thinks this is so easy. Let's all vote for him to speak at the graduation so he can have more work to do after this culminating project. I'll wonder about it, but let's just go with the first one. I think it's the first one. Either way, it's an honor to be recognized by my cohort. I am a first-generation college student who comes from an immigrant background. I grew up in a single-parent, low-income household, and I'm not supposed to be here today. If history is correct, and all the research that we've done points factually that I should not be here speaking. But yet, here I am, giving the graduation speech in front of my cohort at a university. And I think I have all of you to thank for that. And not you directly per se, but people like you who love to teach, who are here to help students to make sure they're guided in the right direction. I think I've had a few educators out there that were rooting for me and saw my true potential. And they worked diligently day in, day out to make me believe in myself and that potential. People like Sue Snively, who showed me how smart I was. And during one of the most critical times in my life where I was being held back from being given the valedictorian award in middle school because of what a commotion that would cause in the community because I would be the first Mexican to win that award. She taught me how to fight back and fight for what I have earned. Or the Chicano Studies professor who invited me to lunch on my first quarter and asked me what I wanted to do in life. And when I confessed to him I wanted to be a law enforcement officer, and he asked why. And my response was because I wanted to make a difference. He asked me, do you think it'd be a greater difference after you arrest the kids or before they get into trouble? And that made me think, no, before they get into trouble. And then he said, you need to be an educator then. You don't need to be a law enforcement officer. And that was my first direction toward this career. Another person that comes to mind is my English professor in college, who let me bring my 2-year-old son to class because I could not find a babysitter for him one day. And the flexibility that that professor showed by letting me bring my son. Those are the kind of people that make a difference in students' lives, and they made a difference in my life. The list goes on, but you get my point. We as educators are life changers. We are sometimes the difference makers that our students need. I've been working in the education field professionally for over 18 years now. I think I like to say I've changed many, many lives already. Just this week alone, I received over 12 different messages from students telling me about all their successes, including earning a bachelor's degree or a master's or even a doctorate degree. Yeah, I've been in the role for that long where I have students who have reached that doctorate level. And I'm super proud of them, and I know that I had some kind of partial responsibility for that. But of course, I'm preaching to the choir because this is what we do as educators. That reminds me of the Winston Churchill's quote, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." We all have decided to go out and make a difference with our life callings and be educators and give all we can to help our students. In all honesty, I did not have plans to apply, let alone do this program when I first came to Washington. It wasn't until I met Ashley and she sold me on the program. She made it sound so simply amazing and how beneficial it would be. She lied. She lied. It was so much more than that. She undersold the program. This program has been life-altering. I have learned things here that I have not even touched upon in my long tenure in the education field. I will take things with me that will make me an overall better educator, a difference maker, and my future students and communities will be better served thanks in part to the education I'm taking from University of Washington, Tacoma. I think I have the faculty to thank for all this great experience that I had here. My first class was with Dr. Begay, and she made the material seem so easy and relevant that everyone felt at ease. The same goes for the rest of the faculty who were very flexible with us in our schedules and how we all had different learning styles. I was fortunate enough to start with Dr. Begay, and now my last course is with her as well. What a great way to end. I have met some of the greatest people that are part of my cohort that each taught me something special just by being themselves. People like Quinn, who showed me to have multiple passions, like her and her passions of education and her animals. Marwa, who showed me it was okay to get assignments done early and be prepared beforehand. Mary, the best project partner to work with because of her fine eye to detail. Marty, who's out to change the status quo of classroom management by making more inclusive and representative of the student population he serves daily. Even Eric, who taught us all how to sniff oils to find calm and peace. There's way too many to mention, and just know that I'm on a time limit here, so I just want to make sure. Lastly, I want to mention my tech support group who kept me entertained, engaged, and ready to come to class just to see what crazy and hilarious things we could send to each other. Emily, Kim, Ale. If I didn't mention your name, it's not because I don't appreciate you. Again, I'm on a time crunch, but to me, you all are superheroes. How is it possible for all of you to work on a master's program, work full time, mostly from home, maintain a household, be a parent, take care of sick relatives, and do all this while living through a pandemic? You all are incredible and should wear your capes proudly. I myself almost dropped out halfway through because I lost my energy, my confidence. Thanks to my wife, Jojo, who pushed me harder than anyone else ever pushed me. She knew how important this was to me, and she would sit up with me during those late nights and just accompany me. She would sit through my boring repetition of what I should write, including my paper over and over without flinching. Thank you very much for always being there for me. I love you very much. Ultimately, I would like to say that I take great pride in attaining this degree, as well as many of my colleagues do, I am sure of. We have spent endless days and nights working on this culminating project, showcasing our life's passion. We have leaned on each other multiple times when we felt weak and tired, and we were ready to support each other and push each other to the finish line. I feel the future for the education world and the students who will be helped by us will be in great hands, as we are all well prepared to show them the way. I have friends and family members who always question me about my career choice, as they work in private and government sectors, and they tell me I could be making 2 to 3 times as much working with them. This always leads me back to one of my favorite quotes. And I'm sorry, I don't know who said this, so I really can't cite the source. Sorry, Dr. Kachera, but it goes like this. Educators do not teach for the income. We teach for the outcome. With that, I want to thank you very much. And we did it. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia, for your remarks. Please welcome Dr. Robin Zate Tohola Minthorn, 2021 Doctor of Education faculty speaker. Dr. Minthorn is a citizen of the Kiowa tribe of Oklahoma and a descendant of the Umatilla, Nez Perce, Apache, and Assiniboine nations. She's an associate professor, director of the doctoral program in educational leadership, and director of Indigenous Education Initiatives for the School of Education at the University of Washington, Tacoma. She is the co-editor of the Indigenous Leadership in Higher Education book published by Routledge and Reclaiming Indigenous Research in Higher Education published by Rutgers University Press. Again, please welcome Dr. Robin Zate Tohola Minthorn.
Honde yonde, paponsen, Before I share my wishes, dreams, and gratitude for you, I want to share a little bit more about my own story in connection to the doctorate and higher education. When I started my higher education journey as a first-generation student, I started at the university not fully prepared for college, but ended up on academic probation my freshman year. And I had to make a choice whether or not to continue going forward or not. And I decided to keep pushing forward. But I also found support networks, but also was able to find my calling in my higher education career by creating support systems for other Native students at the university. At the end of my higher education journey, I also ended my higher education journey in my doctoral degree the March of 2012. And I actually was preparing for my dissertation defense, what we now call our public presentation, with my grandmother being put into the hospital. And she was my role model, my best friend. And so I ended up driving down 2 hours to go be with her in the hospital and stayed with her every day. And went home at night, went back in the morning with my mom. And so knowing that a week before when she was put in the hospital, next week I would be having my dissertation defense, I ended up preparing my presentation in the hospital with her. And so I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And she ended up passing away that Sunday. And so then I had to make a decision on whether or not I was going to keep going forward, as she told me to just keep going in our education journey. She told me to go as far as I could go. And so I talked to my aunts and uncles and I asked them what I should do. And they said that they would move the funeral for her that was scheduled the same day as my dissertation defense into the afternoon so that I could go and drive back to Stillwater that night after her wake service, wake up that morning and do my dissertation defense and public presentation with my mom and my fiance, now husband, in the room, and become Dr. Robin Williams. And so then we drove back to Lawton, and I became the first doctor on all sides of my family. And so I share that because you never know what your journey will lead to and what will happen in your doctoral degree. And so I only share this because I want you to know that our journeys are not easy or always beautiful, but they are ours. I know your journey through the doctorate wasn't easy and that you never imagined having to go through a pandemic. You have navigated this past year, finishing your doctoral coursework, completing your dissertation and practice proposals, modifying your research for it, and completing it. You have persevered and finished. I want to acknowledge that it wasn't without loss of family, friends, time with your cohort members, and being in physical spaces with one another. But you have completed it with the support and presence of your ancestors, your family, your support systems, your pets, and all are with you and will be with you in your future journeys. I am now honored to call each of you doctors and that you have joined me. I understand and know that you brought with you to this program years of experiences and wisdom, but I also hope that you can say that you have grown and stretched yourself. Now you will find that you may be called on more to speak up, to take positions or roles that weren't open for you before. Now collectively, we have a responsibility to dismantle, disrupt, and recreate and envision systems that honor all of our ancestors, communities, and co-create a future together. I am honored to know you and know we'll always be here to cheer you on and uplift your hard work and your journey. Aho.
Thank you, Dr. Minthorn, for your remarks. We're pleased to introduce this year's Doctor of Education student-nominated student speaker, Dr. Ilda Guzman. Dr. Guzman, daughter of migrant farm workers, mother of 4, grandmother, and wife, is the first in her family to earn a doctoral degree. Dr. Guzman is a survivor of life's adversities and challenges. She dropped out of high school to care for her daughter with disabilities. She earned a GED, an associate's, a Bachelor of Arts, a Master's of Public Administration, and now her education doctorate. Dr. Guzman's perseverance is a testament of her determination and love to live life to her full potential. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Ilda Guzman.
Yes, we did this. It feels like a blink of an eye that we were just getting to know each other at Pack Forest, and now we are here. Good afternoon, peers, colleagues, class of 2021 graduates, faculty, staff, friends, and family. I would like to begin by extending my sincere gratitude to my peers for nominating me as your class speaker. It is my honor and privilege. Today, we gather to acknowledge and recognize our accomplishments, achievements, and our successes. In this gathering, we also acknowledge, recognize, and reflect on the challenges and adversities we each individually experienced to reach this milestone. I am a daughter of migrant seasonal farm workers, and I stand on their shoulders today honoring their legacy. This milestone was never intended to be, nor even be dreamed of. I always thought that I was never good enough. As a little girl, all I ever dreamed of was working hard to stay alive and looking forward to waking up another day. But somehow I managed to ascertain the determination to keep striving for something, even though I didn't know what I was striving for. It wasn't until I learned that dreaming beyond living that I focused my determination on expanding my knowledge. And so I come to you today as a student who earned her GED to a student who has earned her EDD. There is more beyond the sky to dream about. Give yourself permission to dream beyond the sky, to aspire and to never lose dreaming. We may not be gathered in the traditional ways of celebrating this milestone. However, this may be the beauty weaved within the fabric of the darkness we have each experienced in our own ways this past year and a half. Love yourself enough to celebrate in the ways that fill your soul. Celebrate while playing a game of tennis with your foster child. Celebrate under the stars accompanied by a beautiful blue moon dancing with your partner. Or celebrate by shopping for the latest unique umbrella to add to your beautiful collection. Celebrate with a hike on the trail that leads you to your favorite rock wall. Celebrate by singing and playing with the children of your school during recess. Or celebrate with the local taco truck. Park at the end of your driveway and invite your family and friends. Celebrate while skating with your young adult. Celebrate by empowering the voice of others they have not heard themselves speak before. And lastly, celebrate the love of health, language, teaching, and your own and others' uniqueness. I plan to celebrate riding along the Pacific West Coast on a tequila train ride with my husband. He is deserving of this celebration also. I leave you with this. Your mere existence is the ultimate act of rebellion. Create the life you've always wanted. My hope is that you remind yourself that there is no gauge to success, but the one we decide for ourselves. We are enough. You are enough. Thank you and congratulations, graduating class 2021.
Honor and privilege that the UW-Tacoma School of Education presents the 2021 Doctor and Master of Education graduates. Please direct your attention to our graduate slideshow. Well, we got through it. We couldn't end this 2020-2021 pandemic year without a minor glitch. And thank you and a huge shout out to our media gurus for always having our back. Well, folks, friends, families, students, faculty, congratulations to all of our graduates who have worked so hard towards their goal of graduation. Many of them joined today and we're happy they could celebrate together virtually. We honor their journey and wish them much success on the road ahead. This now concludes the 2021 School of Education Doctor and Master of Education hooding ceremony.